Welcome to part 2 of the MMO Grinder Sidequest special I'm calling MMOIRL. As shown in the last video on WizardQuest, which, if you missed it, go ahead and click that thumbnail right now. But this time we'll be looking at MagiQuest, which you'd be forgiven for thinking that one is trying to rip off the other. I mean, they literally mean the exact same thing. But there's plenty of key differences between the two, and offer up a bit of a difference that may have you preferring one over the other. First off, MagiQuest has been around for a good while. Like, it's over 10 years old, and has locations all over the US, with one even in Japan. But I'd be amiss in leaving out the very real fact that there's far fewer locations than there used to be. More on that later. Location I'll be looking at is also located in Wisconsin Dells, because, seriously, did you watch that last video or not? This is kind of a two-parter. This MagiQuest, like most of them, is part of the American resort chain Great Wolf Lodge, which MagiQuest has had a partnership with since 2008, including the game within their lobbies and hotels. But thankfully this version was held in a separately contained building. Other MagiQuests I've been to, such as East Hanover, New Jersey, were attached to a larger arcade center, and the locations in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and Pigeon Forge, Tennessee were contained within their own buildings specific to that game. Okay, enough location explanations, onto the game itself. First off, just like WizardQuest, this game is a fantasy-inspired scavenger hunt style game. The massive key difference is in how you find and sort your clues. There's no list of questions here for you to keep, but you do get a small booklet of poems and clues to help you find the items in the order you need them. Well, how do you find those items? With an actual wand. Each wand in MagiQuest acts as your character's sheet of sorts, as well as the way you activate all of your clues. Each decoration in the game, be it a painting, a statue in the corner, an odd marking on the wall, or dozens of treasure chests littered around the rooms, are all marked with a sensor and a small Q symbol, indicating that your wand can interact with it. Flick the wand toward the symbol and hold it there and you'll get some sort of interaction messages and animations. Lights on paintings will flash, treasure chests will automatically open to reveal their contents, and some objects may start glowing or moving. It all helps to make you feel like you're casting magic spells, as absolutely cheesy as this feels. Speaking of cheesy, a lot of those animations and interactions will have an accompanying voice effect, and there are some absolutely cringeworthy line reads, which is to be expected for something this focused on younger children. Starting each quest involves you finding the location's portal hub, a small circle of monitors contained within things like stone pillars, or in the case of this location, a giant tree. Cast your wand at the screen and you'll start a touchscreen interaction that lets you choose the quest that you want to go on. Many of the early quests involve earning runes by finding certain objects around the area, and turning it into a specific location, which will also be an interactive touchscreen. Since the wand is tied to your character and all your quests, the game is far less group-friendly than WizardQuest. Everyone who's playing will likely need or want a wand of their own, and watching cheap parents force their small group of children to share a wand is a recipe for absolute hilarity. Speaking of children, despite the fact they're all given magic wands to cast spells to enchant objects, I think a lot of them wish they could have rolled a warrior, and they tend to sprint around the area, wands flailing in every direction, and they tend to want to brute force the treasure chests open, oftentimes completely screwing up the mechanisms inside. While this location was in pretty good condition, a badly upkept MagiQuest can be littered with chests that, instead of boldly opening and proclaiming that you've earned some gold, they'll weakly flop the lid around for a couple seconds and stop, mumbling something barely audible. I like to imagine they're saying, "Please kill me." Really, location is key to a good MagiQuest experience. This one wasn't too fancy, but it was pretty fun, with a towering and tiring 4 floors to explore, and some interesting rope mazes, rope ladders, and slides to travel around quickly with. Others I've been to have actually been the size of a small classroom, and others being in the hallways of an actual hotel. The people there must have loved that. This brings me to another odd aspect of the Great Wolf locations, the lobby quests, which force you out into the public areas of the hotel to complete the quests. So all the normal people vacationing with their families can stare at you puzzled as to why you're waving a plastic stick at a bunch of hokey-looking talking statues. This location's lobby was so far detached from the actual MagiQuest area that it took me a solid 5 minutes to reach there and back. I thought I was getting lost for a second. Another very intriguing aspect are the adventure battles. While there's some pretty embarrassing moments to be had on the Pixie adventure, which culminates in you shaking the wand at the screen while she condescendingly cheers you on, and the Goblin King battle being a timing-based slugfest that ends with the princess singing a song that goes on for far too long, the dragon battle is what makes the grind worth it. There's no coincidence that a lot of MagiQuest locations put their dragon battle station front and center. It's interesting to watch, and most of the stations have a pretty cool flashing light effect to go along with the screen. The dragon battle itself involves knowledge of the spell rune symbols, and some tricky timing on how and when to cast your spells to defeat him. The best tips I can give to anyone wanting to try MagiQuest is to cast it every treasure chest you see, even if it looks like a special chest or specific just for one quest. It's not uncommon to see a quest ask you for a certain amount of gold, which you can only see how much you have via the portal hub screens, so gathering gold as often as you can will help alleviate that annoyance. And you'll know you've tapped an item of all its golden rewards when a very angry-sounding female voice yells out, "You have already completed this task!" Otherwise, just try to remember any odd-looking things you've seen while looking for the object that you need to find, and the quest should be quick enough to complete once you've mapped everything out. It took me a few hours to do everything my quest had to offer. Luckily, this location lets you play as long as you've paid the entrance fee. Some, like the Pigeon Forge locations, will have you pay for specific lengths of playtime, so be wary of that. One major downside is that MagiQuest doesn't have much in the way of replayability compared to WizardQuest. Once you've done everything in the location, that's it, and you're done unless you want to repeat something. Quests in each location are almost always the same, with the only things making them different being where each location places those items. As I said, this company hasn't been holding up so well in recent years. While we all might want to play the blame the economy card, some locations were just overly restrictive in their playtime, a few were very badly maintained, and all of them love to push tchotchkes and wand accessories that have no real effect on the game itself. Locations in Chicago were newly opened and then closed within months. Their idea to create a simplistic MMO version of the game died with their first episode that they released. While they did finally get another Illinois location, their original and most advertised location in Myrtle Beach shut down this past year. I kinda worry for this company at times, but their Great Wolf partnership seems to be keeping them afloat. Best MagiQuest I've ever been to was the first one in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, which featured secret passages and doors that you could unlock by performing certain hidden tasks. The worst would have to be the Poconos Great Wolf Lodge in Pennsylvania, the aforementioned Hotel Hallways location. Most disappointing was easily Myrtle Beach, touted as MagiQuest's original be-all end-all flagship location, which was little more than a double-decker donut-shaped building with very little coherent thought and a broken secondary game, so no shock that that location was shut down. As for most surprising, this one. That Poconos location left me pretty soured on the lodge locations, but this one was solid all around. If you're in the Wisconsin Dells area, I'd recommend checking it out if it sounds interesting. This has been an MMO Grinder side quest, and I've done all I can here. Maybe I'll have something else to do in the future along these lines.